I want to talk about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid on a regular basis. They just happen to coincide.
Sausage maker Johnsonville is recalling more than 42,000 pounds of pork sausage for possible contamination with plastic fibers. Fortunately, authorities were able to track all 42,000 pounds to a single location in New York City.
Whoopi Goldberg just had the public meltdown of the year. And nope, it had nothing to do with a latte gone wrong. Bill Maher and Greg Gutfeld teamed up and did the unthinkable. They tag-teamed a roast so brutal it left Whoopi's reputation limping. The moment these two went off, even her Oscar probably wanted to crawl under the couch. So what did they actually say that cracked the calm and composed mask she's worn for decades? Oh, you're not ready for this. This wasn't your average celeb roast, this was a full-blown humiliation hurricane. Think historic takedown with a side of chaos. Popcorn, baby, you're going to need a whole buffet. Because Whoopi's dignity didn't just exit stage left, it sprinted out of there like it owed someone money.
It's so cute when one of their side gets punished. They sulk like they ran out of raw cookie dough in the green room. Yeah, ABC suspended Whoopi for 2 weeks because she said the Holocaust had nothing to do with race. She said this on a show called The View, which makes everything about race. Except now.
The Holocaust isn't about race.
No.
It's not about race.
No, it's about
a different race. But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
Yeah, that's heroically stupid.
Let's break it down. Whoopi Goldberg, daytime TV royalty, has ruled The View like it's her personal kingdom. Guests get grilled, opinions fly like dodgeballs, and sarcasm is served fresh every morning. But recently, it all came crashing down. Something major went sideways, and it wasn't scripted. In the blink of an eye, the queen of clapbacks became the butt of the joke. And not just any joke, she got tag-teamed by two of the most razor-tongued media sharks out there. Bill Maher brought the fire, and Greg Gutfeld poured gasoline on it. Suddenly, Whoopi wasn't the wise veteran everyone bows to. She looked like the confused guest who wandered into the wrong studio. It was messy. It was wild. And yes, it was all caught on camera. Let's rewind to where it all went downhill. The exact second Whoopi opened her mouth and dropped a take so out of pocket it basically begged to be roasted. And let's be real, this ain't her first rodeo when it comes to wild takes. Whoopi's been using The View as her personal megaphone for years, tossing out hot takes that bounce between low-key ridiculous and full-on wait, did she really just say that? But this time she really pushed it. Whoopi, in all her self-declared wisdom, decided it was time to school the world on free speech, political correctness, and why everyone just needs to get over it. Sounds harmless at first, but nah, it was anything but that. That moment right there, that's when she handed Bill Maher and Greg Gutfeld the golden ticket to launch a savage verbal ambush. They weren't just poking fun. They ripped into her. Whoopi looked like she was scrambling to collect herself, trying to keep her composure while her reputation got dragged through the mud live and in HD. Her delivery, drenched in that signature I know better than you tone that screams elite liberal smugness. But when you're preaching to an audience that's just trying to sip their coffee in peace, that act wears thin, fast. People tune in expecting a little sass, a little heat, but not a full-blown lecture on what's wrong with society before noon.
Moral privilege, Whoopi hangs on, which is fine since she apologized. But not before digging an even deeper hole than the one in her head.
And finally, new rule, stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Honestly, half the viewers were probably sitting there like, please, just one episode without a monologue on the downfall of America. Instead, they got a front row seat to a crash landing, and it was Whoopi at the controls. But Whoopi, clearly clueless to the fact that her viewers didn't sign up for a never-ending political science crash course on every hot-button liberal issue under the sun, went ahead and dropped one of her infamous truth bombs. And guess what? Huge mistake. That was the moment the sharks started circling. Enter Bill Maher, the king of smug takedowns and the HBO heavyweight with a black belt in roasting half-baked opinions. This is the same guy who can say you're dead wrong without even lifting an eyebrow. If there's one thing Maher loves more than his overpriced wine collection, it's proving that even his own team, yes, the Liberals, can be straight-up clowns sometimes. And baby, Whoopi had just volunteered as tribute. As soon as Maher caught a whiff of her high and mighty speech, he didn't hesitate. He locked in, smirked, and pulled out the verbal chainsaw, ready to slice her argument into confetti. And no, he wasn't about to sit back and watch her go on and on about cancel culture like she was some kind of fearless truth teller on a mission to save humanity.
And them that not everyone on that platform or who consumes stuff on that platform enjoys. And The View is a particularly weird place to do a cancellation.
It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but
But
isn't it interesting that it's called, I mean, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
there is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
That's correct.
That's correct. Bill's got his own agenda. He's out here cooking up a new flavor of liberalism, one that comes spicy, unapologetic, and completely unfiltered. In a world where everyone's busy clutching their pearls, Bill Maher is the guy tossing out grenades just to see who ducks. He's not about to give Whoopi the stage to play moral compass of America while she dishes out lectures drenched in self-importance. Nah, he sees straight through that. And in his book, nothing's worse than a hypocrite with a microphone. So yeah, he came for her, and didn't miss. There he was, Bill Maher, with that smug little grin stamped across his face like he already knew he won. And he wasn't just warming up. He was locked and loaded, ready to rain down truth bombs like it was a one-man demolition show. But did he stop after the first hit? Nope. Why land one jab when you can unload a whole combo and leave your opponent gasping for breath? Maher took Whoopi's overcooked liberal monologue and sliced through it with the finesse of a street-smart surgeon. Every time she tried to throw out a defense, he met her with a cold, calculated counter. She could barely finish a sentence before getting verbally bodied with something even sharper. He wasn't just poking fun. He was treating her like a human punching bag, swinging straight-up facts with zero hesitation. Brutal doesn't even cover it. At one point, it had folks watching like, dang, how is she even still sitting there? The second-hand embarrassment was real. You'd think that would be enough for one segment, right? Because just when it seemed like Whoopi had taken all she could handle, in strutted Greg Gutfeld with a grin of his own, ready to finish the job.
Yesterday on The View, otherwise known as Hell's DMV, Whoopi Goldberg asked how much different are the values of the Trump administration from the Taliban?
We have a leader who has repeatedly demeaned women, right, wants to defund organizations that benefit women, calling on the media to shut up, specifically wants to give preferential treatment based on religion. Are these values really much different than the Taliban's?
Wow. Talk about groundbreaking to actually hear a celebrity say something mean about the Taliban. How dare they compare them to Trump? The Taliban should sue. Guess they ran out of Hitler analogies. So as they bash the president, I'm reminded how entertainers rarely express any rage over any strand of misogynist Islamism. If they did, we might take their rage toward Trump seriously. A reminder, the Taliban throw acid in girls' faces for going to school. Yeah, I guess that's like defunding Planned Parenthood.
Now, if Bill's the intellectual hitman, Greg Gutfeld is the chaos agent, the Fox News class clown with a MIC, a brain full of one-liners, and zero filter. And trust, Greg doesn't care who you are. You could be a priest or a pop star. If you say something dumb on national TV, he's turning that nonsense into punchline gold. He came through swinging with jokes so savage even Whoopi's co-hosts looked like they wanted to hide under the table. And with his usual I don't care who I offend attitude, he took Whoopi's already shaky speech and turned it into a full-blown comedy roast. Gutfeld's specialty, turning The View into a nightly punchline. And this time, he went all in, with a grin that screamed, "This is going to be fun." He took Whoopi's ramble, twisted it like taffy, and turned her into a straight-up cartoon version of herself. He didn't just disagree, he dismantled her with the kind of joy usually reserved for meme lords discovering a goldmine of cringe. And unlike Maher, Gutfeld didn't waste time debating. He didn't need stats, sources, or some polished TED Talk response. Nah, he came in clowning, effortlessly. The man dropped jokes like he'd been waiting for this moment his whole life. Every jab was slick, every punchline sharp, and somehow he made it look like he wasn't even trying. Let's be real, Whoopi practically walked into this one. Gutfeld didn't need a law degree or political science background to roast her. Mocking The View's liberal preaching is like grabbing fruit off the ground. Low-hanging doesn't even cover it. It was practically gift-wrapped. But here's where it got nasty. Gutfeld didn't just say she was wrong, he made her look like a full-blown joke. And when your whole image is built on being the wise, unshakable voice of reason, that kind of humiliation stings hard. Especially when it's coming from a guy who's made a career out of tearing people down with a smirk and a punchline. By the time the clip hit the internet, it exploded. People weren't just laughing, they were remixing it, memeing it, quoting it. Gutfeld didn't just mock Whoopi, he branded her. And for someone like her, that's not just criticism, that's legacy damage.
Enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill Maher, who has been the standard bearer for liberalism and in many ways leftism until the woke went bananas in this last decade, but for decades, that's what this guy has represented in America. I want you to note the tone they all talk with him. I want you to look at Sonny Hostin's body language and the way they look at him and everything else, just because he is a lefty who hasn't gone completely bananas.
But let's not just focus on the takedown. Let's take a second to truly appreciate Whoopi's bold but shaky attempt at damage control. Did she spiral into full meltdown mode? Oh, 100%. And honestly, can you blame her? This is Whoopi Goldberg we're talking about, the face of daytime TV for decades. She's used to being the one doing the grilling, not getting grilled like a burger on national TV. But this time she was getting roasted by two men who breathe sarcasm for a living. There was no smooth clapback, no iconic MIC drop moment, just some scrambled defensive mumbling, exaggerated eye rolls, and a very obvious struggle to keep her cool. It wasn't a comeback, it was a scramble. A last-ditch effort to hold together a reputation that was slipping through her fingers on live television. This is the same Whoopi who built a whole career off being unbothered, untouchable, the queen of I said what I said. But none of that confidence hit the screen this time. What we saw instead? A woman flustered, frustrated, and fumbling through her words while the cameras rolled and the audience watched in stunned silence. That icy, I don't care persona cracked. You could see the panic flickering behind those iconic glasses.
And by the way, out there, that hat that you keep wearing, that red hat that says Make America Great Again, that tells people that you go along with this. So you might as well just put a swastika on the hat.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because we see it anyway.
I'm not going to defend Donald Trump ever, but I would never say that we should put the swastika on the cap, because I think you can hate Donald Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It's half the country. I don't want to live in that country. I don't want to live in the country where I hate half the country and I don't hate half the country.
How dare you disagree?
And here's where it gets juicy. Zoom out for a second and peep the real story here. This ain't just a little drama between TV personalities. It's way bigger than that. It's comedy clashing with politics. It's egos on full blast. It's old-school liberalism, represented by Bill Maher, taking a sledgehammer to the loud, performative woke movement. It's ironic, messy, and wildly entertaining, all playing out in front of millions. While Whoopi Goldberg, the self-proclaimed guardian of progressive values, is out here preaching that everyone just needs to be nice and follow the rulebook of political correctness, the game around her has already changed, and she didn't get the memo. Enter Greg Gutfeld, the dude who's turned satire into a weapon of mass disruption. He doesn't just poke fun at the left, he exposes it. With punchlines sharper than a razor and zero fear of backlash, Gutfeld's made it his full-time job to clown the very ideology Whoopi defends like it's gospel. And he does it with the confidence of a man who knows he's winning the meme war. Watching these three go at it, it's like witnessing an ideological street fight, with fewer fists but way more shade.
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sonny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shed.
This isn't just TV drama anymore. It's cultural warfare with punchlines instead of punches. Zoom in, and it gets even wilder. Bill Maher. He's the chain-smoking uncle of liberalism who misses the days when comedians could crack a joke without getting cancelled. He's not buying into the new age sensitivity circus, and he sure as hell isn't scared to say it out loud. Then there's Whoopi, still clinging to the kind of liberalism that peaked with dial-up internet. Her takes feel like time capsules from the 90s, outdated, preachy, and totally out of touch with today's raw, more cutthroat political climate. Meanwhile, Gutfeld's out here like a general for the Fox News comedy battalion, waving his sarcasm around like a sword, ready to slice through the fluff. And guess what? The battle isn't happening in the streets or on Capitol Hill. It's happening right there on The View. And poor Whoopi didn't realize she walked into a war zone with no armor.
Those hands are always clucking. They get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, and then I get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, except on purpose. But every now and then, one of those dingbats inadvertently says something that reveals modern liberal thought so perfectly it deserves further study. You know, like a weird serpent that washed up on the beach and you want to poke it with a stick.
This whole showdown, it's unfolding right in front of us, on the big public stage where people are straight up exhausted by one-sided echo chambers. These days, viewers aren't looking for a group hug of shared opinions. They want debate. They want spice. They want someone to actually challenge the nonsense, not just nod along like it's a group project at brunch. We've hit a moment where politics need a remix, served with humor, a bit of heat, and a dash of realness. Nobody's checking in to be force-fed a bowl of agree with me or you're cancelled. That era's expired. And audiences are done pretending they're satisfied with sugar-coated monologues. But Whoopi, she's still sitting on that plush chair in her liberal fortress, convinced she's the voice of reason. Meanwhile, Maher and Gutfeld are out here giving people what they've actually been craving, real talk that's raw, funny, and not afraid to ruffle some feathers. Maher's out here saying, look, I'm a liberal, but you'll have lost the plot. And Gutfeld, he's turning every overly dramatic talking point into straight-up comedy gold. The crowd's eating it up, not because they agree with everything, but because someone's finally poking holes in the bubble. And here's the real kicker, The View has accidentally turned itself into the symbol of say what we like or get out. It's become this high-security zone for unchallenged opinions, where pushback gets treated like betrayal. And Whoopi, she's been the queen of that castle, hiding behind decades of TV credibility like it's a force field.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Well, not if you're Whoopi Goldberg, a.k.a. Karen Johnson. Yeah, who knew Whoopi was a Karen? I thought that was only for white people, like Toyota Priuses and skiing.
But now Maher and Gutfeld, the so-called outsiders, are flipping the script. They've become the unlikely heroes of this chaos, calling everyone out, even each other. They're like the kids in school who didn't just skip class, they questioned the teacher, rewrote the rules, and somehow still ended up cooler than everyone else in the room. And now, in the wildest twist of all, Whoopi's fall from grace isn't just a messy moment, it's turned into a full-blown symbol of something way bigger. This isn't just a TV spat anymore, it's about the cultural war we're all stuck in. The one where folks yell across digital battlefields but never actually talk. And now, people are waking up, realizing that maybe it's time to stop hiding in corners and start having some real conversations without the cancel threats and cry fests. Let's get into the aftermath. Who actually walked away with the win? First up, Bill Maher. The man's on fire. His rep just hit a whole new level with centrists and those tired of walking on eggshells. He's still rocking the liberal label, but has been fearlessly calling out the parts of woke culture that have gone off the rails. Maher isn't trying to join some right-wing parade. He's just saying what a lot of people are thinking but too scared to admit. And because of that, his audience is growing fast. He's starting to feel like one of the last voices of reason in a world drowning in outrage. And then there's Greg Gutfeld, Fox News' crown prince of sarcasm. While everyone was arguing, he was calmly dragging Whoopi through the mud like a lion toying with dinner. But here's what made it even crazier. His roast didn't just live and die inside the Fox bubble. It spread fast. His takedown crossed over, trending across platforms and hitting audiences that never even watch his show. It wasn't just a roast. It was a one-man comedy special that went viral without even trying.
That makes Sonny Hostin, who thinks climate change caused the solar eclipse, the dumbest of them all. Because everyone knows the moon caused the eclipse, which is controlled by the View's gravitational pull.
Whoopi's meltdown didn't just fade into the background. It dominated Twitter for days. The debate clips were everywhere. And Greg Gutfeld's sharp, cold-blooded commentary, it lit up his late-night slot like fireworks on the 4th of July. His show suddenly became the spot, the place where people go not just to laugh, but to watch somebody get wrecked with style. His reach, growing faster than a South Park binge at 2 a.m. Meanwhile, over at The View, Whoopi's still holding her ground, sitting tall on that high horse like nothing's changed. But anyone with eyes can see it, her image took a real hit. The iron wall around her credibility cracked. She's not totally irrelevant, she's still got that iconic chair and a loyal chunk of fans, but the glow of invincibility, gone. Let's be honest. Whoopi used to carry that air of above-it-all wisdom, like her opinion was the final word. But now, that untouchable status she built over the years, just vanished like a magician doing a disappearing act. Except this time, the audience figured out the trick. Behind the scenes, you know there's quiet talk, whispers in the hallways, side eyes during production meetings. One fictional insider hit it right on the nose: she's not untouchable anymore. And that says it all. So yeah, she's still the queen of the view table. But she's no longer the untouchable empress of daytime liberalism. The crown's a little tilted, the throne's a bit wobbly, and everyone's watching to see what happens next. In the end, Whoopi Goldberg isn't just a legend anymore. She's now another celeb trying to survive in a world that's over one-sided rants and holier-than-thou attitudes. And in today's media landscape, where audiences are done pretending to clap for every brave speech, that's a dangerous place to be.